Hello and welcome tonight. Hello and welcome to Sport Tonight. I'm Cecilia Mogbe, right here in Lagos. Austin will join me shortly on the program, but this is the makeup of the show tonight. We'll be talking about the Australian Open because the finals for the men and the women is this weekend. We'll start off with the women. Remember what's going to happen with the defending champions of both the men and women. They are out of the championship. We'll be focusing on that tonight on the show. And of course, take a look at the unfinished business that Real Madrid is having with Benfica when they had to ensure they are playing the playoffs to get into the round of 16 because both have been drawn against each other. We'll be taking a look at that. Of course, Victor Osimhen will be having the reunion with his former coach because Galatasaray and Juventus have also been drawn together in that round of 16 playoffs in the Champions League. Remember when he won the title within 49 goals he scored for Napoli to win their first title in like a long while, but that reunion is coming in the UEFA Champions League. And of course, the NPFL match day 24 will be getting our attention and we also focus a little bit on the stadium because the Lakon Salami Stadium that we talked about in the show, well, the NPFL have decided that games will no longer be played there at that stadium. Earlier in the day, the Nigeria Football Federation had came up with a press release that the four cornets were supposed to play their game against Senegal there, talking about the qualifiers for the 2026 Under 20 Women's World Cup. They will no longer be playing it there. They will be playing at the MK Abiola Stadium. So Shooting Stars will be playing all their games at the MK Abiola Stadium. So we're taking a look at that tonight on the show. Yes, the EPL will also be getting our attention. Big games coming up this weekend, especially Manchester City and Tottenham Hotspur. In times past, there have been a very big game. But looking at Tottenham and where they are in the English Premier League, it's hard to say because of what's currently going on with that club. Champions League, yes, they are firing from one cylinder, but when it comes to the Premier League, they are nowhere to be found. Of course, Arteta continue with this positive nature, talking about Arsenal. When you stumble, you have to rise up and, of course, stand up and continue fighting because on all four fronts, 4 titles they are fighting for this season. But after stumbling in 3 games in EPL, they're trying to turn it around this weekend. You'll be hearing from him. What more is he saying to the players? The positive things he wants to bring out from the players after that stumbling. Well, the game they won in the Champions League might just be a bounce for them to go into this weekend and start winning again and maintain that level they were at when the season starts. Of course, they sit top of the table. All these we'll be talking about on the show tonight. But right here in the studio, yes, he's here talking about Olumide James Akombi. It's great to have you join me on the program.
Yeah, good evening, Lagos. Good evening, Cecilia. I'm excited to be here again.
Yeah, it's great to have you join me. All right. Yes, we're going to start off with tennis first. When Biola Solis Chiku joins us, yes, a tennis journalist. When Biola is on the show, obviously you will know that we'll be bringing you lots and lots of tennis because that's where we're starting from. But before she joins us, we're going to be taking a look at the head-to-head record of Aryna Sabalenka and Elena Rybakina. These are the 2 players that are gunning for the title. For Sabalenka, she's gunning for her 3rd title in Melbourne. Well, for Rybakina, well, she's in her first Australian Open final. Now, this is the head-to-head record between these 2 ladies. 8 wins in the meetings, of course, 6 for Rybakina. In terms of singles titles, 22 for Sabalenka. She's world number 1 for a reason, and 5 for Rybakina. And of course, you come to rankings, of course, world number 1, and she's ranked at 5, you know, in the world. And of course, age, she's 27 and she's 26, just a year older. And then you come to players, of course, both of them are right-handed players. She's in Minsk from Belarus. Remember what's currently going on in Ukraine and Russia. And so he's having a whole lot of issues. A place of birth, of course, that's where she's born, in Minsk in Belarus. And why Rybakina, she's from Moscow. So maybe no handshake at the end of the day. Who knows what's going to happen in that one. And then take a look at the career prize money. Why she's got $45 million. And then she's got 24 in terms of the career prize money for these players. So this is the singles final, the Australian Open, between Sabalenka and Rybakina. So both of them will be in action on Saturday. And of course, Sunday, that's when you have the big one, Novak Djokovic. And of course, talking about Novak Djokovic and Carlos Alcaraz. The first time they met, when Carlos Alcaraz beat Djokovic, Alcaraz was just 19 years old, and that was in Masters. I think it was the semi-final or quarter-final before he went on to beat Zverev in the final to win that. Well, we'll be joined by Biola Solis-Chukwu to talk more about this. Especially, we'll start off with the women, of course. That's the first that will be happening. Biola, it's great to have you join me on the show tonight.
Hi, Cecilia. Good to be on the show, talking the Australian Open.
Yes, the Australian Open. These two ladies, I know when the draws was actually done, I mean, the favorite for it, yes, Sabalenka was favorite, but Rybakina, she was not even in the conversation. I know that because people were not talking about that as much. People were talking about Coco Gauff, thinking maybe she'd turn it around, win the Australian Open for the first time. But then you're having Rybakina in the final of the Australian Open. Was he one of those players you expect to be playing Sabalenka in the final?
To be honest, Rybakina had actually always been the conversation since even before the tournament started. Remember, she won the WTA finals. That's the curtain closer of the WTA season. She ended her season on such a high, was probably the best player in the world from, September to October. Yeah. So she was actually in the conversations. I think she was probably top 4 actually to win or at least reach the final. So it wasn't much of a surprise to me, to be honest. I kind of predicted she would make a deep run, like make the semi-finals.
But not final.
So, to me, I actually thought she could. So it's not much of a surprise. She's been playing that well in the last couple of months, and she has definitely earned her place here.
Yeah, I mean, that ruthless win that Sabalenka had, over her opponent, talking about Elina Svitolina, I mean, it was politically charged atmosphere, no handshake, but then Sabalenka came through. I mean, it was a clinical finish for her, 6-2, 6-3. And now she's going to be up against another fantastic player. I mean, from how she started this whole thing, you think she's favorite to actually win her third title in Melbourne?
Definitely. Sabalenka loves to play in Australia. She wins a lot of titles there, not just at the Australian Open. She has seemed like the strongest player at this tournament. She's the best in the world. She's, ranked world #1 for a reason. And of course, I wouldn't say she's an overwhelming favorite to win this title, but she is the favorite, being world #1, being the 2-time champion there, has reached the final for a 4th consecutive year. They aren't strangers to each other. They actually even played this final in 2023, which was one of the matches of the year, early that year. So I think it's really going to be, it's going to be Sabalenka's most difficult match so far at this tournament.
Yeah, I was going to come there because Rybakina seems to have a tougher opponent. I mean, she played Iga Swiatek, she played Pegula, so she played the tough seeds, coming into the final. So apparently, Sabalenka maybe a bit more rested than what Rybakina went through.
Yes, I think Sabalenka definitely had an easier draw. On the other side of the draw, it seems the biggest players were packed on that side. The Iga Swiateks, the Rybakinas, the Pegulas, that side, even the likes of Anna Kalinskaya were packed on that side of the draw. But, I think Sabalenka had it relatively easy. But the thing about tennis is just get the job done, no matter who you're facing, because, upsets happen. But, she made sure that it didn't happen to her. But we have to be honest and say that was an easy draw for Sabalenka up till the semi-finals at least. And like you said, that was also a clinical display, clinical match, clinical win against Elina Svitolina. So Rybakina has definitely worked harder to be here, but at the same time, she also hasn't dropped a set, and that shows how well she has played in a difficult side of the draw.
I think Austin is ready to chip in, but before Austin chip in, because I'm going to keep you waiting because he kept me waiting. James, I mean, you were actually shaking your head when she was talking about Sabalenka having an easy draw, and of course, Rybakina, she won Wimbledon in 2022. They played in 2023, which was a fantastic game. But at the end of the day, beating Sabalenka in tomorrow's final is going to be a difficult one.
Yes, it's going to be very difficult for her. Like Biola, like she's referenced, I've seen every game played by Sabalenka in this tournament, and I honestly don't think that Rybakina will beat her. I mean, she's improved every season I've watched her. 23, 24, 25, 26, finals. She has won 2.
WTA finals in Riyadh. She beat Sabalenka to win it.
I mean, these things happen, but again, head-to-head is there. 8-6.
8 wins and 6.
I mean, you can't, and 8-6 can be flattering. You have to go back to the sets and see how many sets she has won compared to Rybakina. But I know she will give her a good run, because I think that for Sabalenka, Rybakina has got some aesthetics that I've not seen from the rest of the pack that played her. So she has to really be at her best. But I mean, she's a power player, big serve, the forehand, the backhand.
But both are big servers. Both are big servers. Austin had to come in here. Yeah, they're both big servers. Austin.
I completely agree with you, Cecilia. Sporty greetings to our viewers all over the world. What we're going to see in that women's final is power for power. Biola, you can agree with me that it will be explosive power. And look, when you were talking about Rybakina, I was saying, let me get into the conversation with that. Do you think she's already tired because of all of the hurdles that she had to survive to get to the final?
I wouldn't say she's tired. Maybe just a little, like I said, has worked harder than Sabalenka. But she has also won her matches in straight sets. So I don't think being tired would be the thing. I think if she loses, it would simply be because Sabalenka was the best player on the day. Sabalenka has been the best player tournaments. But then I think a lot of people are ruling Rybakina out of this final. She's a Grand Slam champion in her own right. This is her 3rd Grand Slam final as well. So I do not think it's going to be, you know, a walk in the park for Sabalenka. And it's very possible that it can swing Rybakina's way. It can swing anyway, is what I believe.
Interesting.
So I completely agree to that also. But look, the love Sabalenka, when she played at the Australian Open, it's like what we see of Novak Djokovic. Can that be an advantage for her? She loves it in Melbourne.
Of course, yeah, she loves the sport, not just in Melbourne, in Australia as a whole, like I mentioned earlier. She just seems to love conditions and she's used to it. So Rybakina has also played in the Australian Open final, so she's not a stranger to this final. So these are 2 experienced Australian Open finalists, even though Rybakina hadn't won it before. So again, I maintain the point that it can swing either way.
Interesting. All right. I know we can stay on the women for a very long time, but let's go to the men. I mean, when I was watching, and I had to leave for work. You know, I was watching Novak Djokovic and Jannik Sinner. So I thought just maybe it's going to go into, you know, the usual 5 sets and maybe into different tie breaks and all. But at the end of the day, we saw what Djokovic did to Jannik Sinner. I mean, he says it's the best tennis in 10 years. And when he was talking on court after the game, he was speechless, like he was lost for words. For the first time, Djokovic couldn't muster words for like up to a minute. I mean, just looking and stunned by that victory. Were you also stunned when he beat the reigning champion and also world number 2?
Well, I wouldn't say stunned was the word, but I was a little surprised. I had expected a Sim Karan's final, to be honest, but it's Novak Djokovic. You never rule Novak Djokovic out of any match, you know. I was also concerned for Sinner because Djokovic was the fresher player going into the final. He didn't get to play his round of 16 match in the quarterfinal. His opponent also retired from the match after 2 sets to 1 up. So he had a lot more time to recover. He had played less matches, had spent more time on court. So I think that was a big advantage that Novak Djokovic had. It's still Novak Djokovic. If Novak Djokovic plays till he's 45 years old, you cannot rule him out of anything. And that's what happened here. And I think Sinner also probably didn't expect that incredible level that Novak Djokovic brought up today. Sinner had won their last 5 matches. It was beginning to look like a one-way thing in their rivalry, if we could call it that. But yeah, Djokovic just did what Novak Djokovic does in this match, really. And it was incredible. Still playing like that at 39. I am mind blown. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a remarkable one. 4 hours, 9 minutes. Let's take a look at the head-to-head record before Austin will jump in here. The head-to-head record of the men's singles final. This will be played early hours of Sunday morning. That's Nigerian time. Now, Carlos Alcaraz and Novak Djokovic. You look at how many wins. 4 wins for Alcaraz and 5 for Novak Djokovic. And of course, ranking, he's world #1 for a reason, and he's #4. That's a great one. I mean, he's rising in the ranking at the moment. And you talk about age, he's just 22, and the youngest ever to reach 4 Grand Slam finals. He's just 22, and while Djokovic is 38. Of course, the right-handed are both right-handed players. And for career titles, he's got 24 in his stride, 101. Can you beat that? And then you take a look at the career prize money. I mean, this is huge for these two guys. But Novak Djokovic, there's no contest at all. If you look at this side of it, you discover that Novak Djokovic, in terms of everything, I mean, he's bigger than Carlos Alcaraz. But this is a Grand Slam final. Djokovic hasn't won since 2023 when he won the US Open. Since 2024, he hasn't been to the final of a Grand Slam.
Yeah.
Where will he swing, Biola?
Yes, Novak Djokovic being in the Grand Slam final again after, almost 3 years. It had been Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner in literally all the Grand Slam finals in 2 full seasons. So starting the season with another Grand Slam final in a while is a really good one. The thing is, Novak Djokovic has so much experience, is going for a record-extending 25th Grand Slam final. He knows this court like he knows the back of his hand as well. Carlos Alcaraz, on the other hand, is reaching the Australian Open final for the first time. So that's something to consider. I think a big factor, a big talking point going into this final is the fact that Alcaraz struggled a lot physically in the semi-final match against Alexander Zverev. So we do not know if he has enough time to recover, if, how injured is he. We actually don't know that. So that's where the worry might be for Carlos Alcaraz and his team, if he'll be physically ready to go toe-to-toe with the Novak Djokovic that we saw against Sinner today. So this is so hard to predict. Another match that can swing either way. I know I'm saying that, and I'm not, hitting the nail on the head and saying this person will win, but that's just the truth. It can't swing either way.
Yeah, it can't swing it. Austin,
You have to tell us who will win. That's why you're our guest, Biola. Before you tell us. Because I completely agree with you. These are the sort of matches that are so difficult, to predict. You remember we were complaining that, it's boring. What's wrong with the Australian Open? Then
I didn't complain.
Then came the semi-finals, and what we saw was that, okay, I think Novak Djokovic, he looked at the first semi-final like, Alcaraz gave us a show. Let me see what I can do against Jannik Sinner. And I mean, he's 38 years old, chasing that 25th standalone Grand Slam. So there was so much pressure. But we know that they love him in Melbourne, and he gets this kind of sort of support that he always wants from Melbourne. And it's been a very, funny story right from that COVID incident. When they said, you have to test. They said, you can't force me. And then they had to leave. It would be good to see him, win that 25th Grand Slam title in Melbourne. I say it will be good. Biola, does it mean he can go all the way? Is that an inspiration?
I think it means he can. He looks very motivated. I don't think I have seen Djokovic play this well in the last year. Sinner is that person almost everybody is striving to beat. Not just at the Australian Open, but on tour, at every tournament. Sinner had won 5 consecutive matches against Djokovic. Djokovic was extra motivated today. I don't know what led to that. Like I said, of course he was fresh, but that goes beyond being fresh. This was almost 5-6 years ago kind of level Novak Djokovic, and I don't know where he dug that from. So Alcaraz should definitely be concerned about that. I like that you mentioned support, Austin. He, of course, got a lot of support from the crowd today against Jannik Sinner because, of course, he's won this title multiple times. He's the player that has more experience than Carlos Alcaraz. So I guess that's where the support might swing to. But Alcaraz has his fans as well. It's going to be a really tough one. No matter how this goes, I don't think it's going to be straightforward for whoever wins. They will play at least 4 sets. I don't think this can go in straight sets for whoever it is that wins.
Minimum 4 sets. Well, we need to quickly go on a break, right? And when we come back, I think we're still keeping Biola because she's had to tell us one thing about Zverev when he had to take Zverev angry that, Carlos Alcaraz had to take time out. You tell us about that after this a quick break. So, Biola, before we let you go now, Zverev actually complained that Alcaraz took time out because, I mean, in tennis rule, you're not permitted to actually, take medical time out when you have cramps. But he has muscle cramps. But he did that. He later explained that he thought it was something bigger. You think maybe that time out he took actually helped him to recover quickly? Because I thought he was losing it, especially in that final set. Remember, they spent 5 hours, 27 minutes on court.
Yes, I wouldn't say the medical timeout helped Alcaraz recover quickly, because even after the medical timeout, for over 1 set, he was barely moving well. He was simply trying to get his serves in. He couldn't run after the ball, and that basically led to Zverev taking the 3rd set. I understand that, maybe it was cramps, but at that point, to everyone, even the umpire, it looked like it was something else, because we saw Alcaraz seem like he twisted something, like he put a foot wrong, and then he himself thought he had probably strained a muscle or something. So I think it was probably during his massage, during the medical timeout, or at some points that he figured out what it really was. But whatever happened to him clearly hampered Alcaraz a lot, because he was not moving anymore. To be honest, I also thought he was going to retire from the match, because when you are not moving, when you can't pace after balls and all you can do is serve, what else is left? But his team was telling him to just try and be patient and wait it out, and of course he would probably find some form again, and that's what happened. It's always so important to stick to a match, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's what led to Alexander Zverev losing the match, because he served for the match at 5-3. It was literally on his racket. But he did it.
Well, he lost it. I mean, Alcaraz already said that he doesn't give up anymore like he used to when he was younger. Like, he's just 22. Well, Biola, I know we can have a tennis show, but we can't afford to do that. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good to be doing this with you.
Yeah, all right. Next time. Just a quick one. I know Djokovic and Alcaraz. Yeah. Where's your head is where, or your heart is where?
I'll go with Alcaraz. I think that for Carlos Alcaraz, he needs to complete this.
Okay.
He's looking for the Australian Open. He's never played in the final. This is his first final. He's played Djokovic, and I'm sure there are a lot of things on his mind. Djokovic wants to extend, he wants that standalone 25 Grand Slam. Djokovic used him to complete tennis by winning the Olympics. So there is a lot going on in this world. But I'll go with Alcaraz. I agree with Biola. This is not going to be a straight set. Okay. They probably will do a 4-5 set. But I think in the end, Alcaraz will lift this.
Amen to that. Yeah, Austin, I mean, for the first time we heard from Anthony Joshua breaking the silence after that incident that happened in December. I mean, our hearts are still with him, especially, losing his 2 brothers, Latif Ayodele and Sina Gami. I mean, it was a terrible one. But for the first time, he's been talking.
He had to put himself together, it was a difficult speech, and he said it right there that, look, he knows everybody will say this, will say that, but he said something profound, and that happens when you lose someone really close. He said now he's not even afraid of dying, that's what is death and all of that, because he was with those guys right there in the car. It could have been him, Was really a painful experience. Anthony Joshua spoke for the first time since that terrible experience in Lagos, Nigeria. Listen.
In front of a camera. Unfortunately, I'm not speaking to all of you people live. If you know my character, I'll much prefer to do that, but there's what I want, and then there's reality. So this is the best way I could reach out to all of you far and wide, worldwide, who are showing so much love, care, support through that tragic, traumatic time where we lost Lats and Sina in Nigeria. The last time I spoke to you guys was in Miami. We had so many plans to wrap up 2025, and we were on a mission. We went back home, went to see our families, and everything just got flipped upside on its head. And yeah, it's God's the best planner. We can't plan. We can plan to the best of our capabilities, but You know, that was such an unforeseen circumstance that was out of all of our controls. And what can I say? One day my time will come, and I'm not scared either, at all. It's actually comforting knowing I've got two brothers on the other side. You know, I've lost people before, but I don't think I've lost people like that, my left and my right, you know. Throughout this like journey that I've been on, you know, it's not easy, but I didn't even realize that I'm the big guy, you know what I mean? But I was walking with giants, man, that kept me protected, kept me shielded, but the mission must go on. I understand my duty, I understand like what they wanted to do for their families. So what my goal is to continue to help them achieve their goals. Even though they may not be here in the physical, when I pray at night, when I pray in the morning, I know spiritually they're going to aid me through, because it's not just physical strength that will get me through. It's going to take a lot of strength from the higher power. So I'm going to definitely be saying my prayers, and I'm going to help them fulfill their dreams for their families. I know what we're going to do to continue their, I don't want to say legacy, because I had a lot of those questions during my fight in Miami. How does this affect your legacy, legacy? It ain't about legacy, it's just doing what's right. And I know what I'm going to do what's right for them. I know what I've got to do. So yeah, I'm going to do what's right by them. I'm going to do what's right by their family. It's about what's important to me. And they're very important players, very important team members, very important friends, and two of my brothers. So yeah, I just want to say thank you. We saw the messages, the tweets, the social media, the YouTubes, the prayers. It's all been acknowledged. So yeah, we know what we're going to do. Mama Lats, Mama Sina, Papa Lats, Papa Sina, one love, you know, out here representing. This message isn't only on behalf of me, this is on behalf of their families. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for the love worldwide. Continue, don't let it stop. And for anyone out there that's lost a son, a brother, one love to you, like, yeah, from us to you. We're sending that love straight back.
Deep, emotional speech right there from former two-time world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. We just pray that this experience will, you know, push him towards, you know, bigger things. And we pray that the souls of Lats and Sina will continue to rest in peace. Let's get into the UEFA Champions League. And Cecilia, I don't know me. Look, I don't know football anymore. Benfica and Real Madrid gave us drama on the final group stage match. And now we're going to play again in the round of 16. Cecilia, can you explain what really happened with that draw?
Yeah, you know, as you said, I really don't know football. You know football better than I do. Well, let's just go and tell you how this all went down earlier today. Round of 16 are fixtures. Because when it's a draw, I mean, it's a lucky draw. You can get any team. So it wasn't planned. But Jose Mourinho, of course, definitely had unfinished business with his former team. Benfica and Real Madrid are meeting again. Monaco and Paris Saint-Germain, they also met at the group stage. So that's how it's going to be all through. Karabakh and Newcastle, you have Bodo Glimt and Inter Milan. Inter Milan needs to be careful. Bodo Glimt can be very tricky. Galatasaray and Juventus, that's another meeting. You have Spalletti will be up against Osimhen. I mean, he was the coach when he won the league title with Napoli. Club Brugge and Atletico Madrid. You have Borussia Dortmund and Atalanta. Demola Lookman is right here. Olympiacos and, of course, Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, so this is the round of 16 fixtures. So the fixtures, obviously, is in February 17 and 18, while the return leg will be played in the upper week. And, of course, for the main round of 16 clash, the winners of this will join the likes of Arsenal, Bayern, Barcelona, Chelsea, and, of course, Tottenham in March to play that round of 16. Austin says he doesn't know football anymore. But then, this is a fixture for you. I mean, if you look at the screen, these two sides, can you predict that maybe the sides on your right?
On your left or your right.
Right? And what's going through? It seems the one on the right. Well, and
I think that some of these games are straightforward.
Yeah.
I think PSG will go through. I think that
Real Madrid will go through. That's what I'm saying. Real Madrid, PSG, Newcastle, Inter Milan, Juventus, Atletico Madrid, Atalanta, Bayer Leverkusen. So they seem to be the stronger side.
I feel that I think there are two games, or probably three, that probably think the results will be different.
Okay.
The Galatasaray-Juventus game is a very tricky game. I think that for these two sides, you cannot predict. It's 50-50. Club Brugge, Atletico Madrid. Club Brugge, I saw them against Barcelona in the league format group stage, and I think they're a very tricky side that can also upset Atletico Madrid. Then the last game there, Olympiacos Bayer Leverkusen, is another game that I think can go. But for the other guys, Dortmund will take out Atalanta, and then I'll go with Inter, Newcastle, Real Madrid. I think that will be it. So I think two teams from the left side of the draw, I think will join the others from the right. I don't think it's straightforward. All that is on the right.
I think, okay. I mean, also, if you look at the Nigerian interest, you have two Nigerians going head-to-head there. Bruno Oyemachi of Olympiacos will be up against Nathan Taylor, who plays for Bayer Leverkusen. I think that's my interest there, having two Nigerians against each other.
The interest should be the Nigerian guys that will be competing Cecilia, not those going against themselves. Because the one will knock the other. But yeah, I get what you mean, and that's really heartwarming. Super Eagles players. Don't forget, there's also Club Brugge right there, and Atalanta also with Ademola Lookman, and of course the guy that got everyone talking at the AFCON, Rafael Onyedika. That should definitely, get us talking. Look, the round of 16 we'll come with some fireworks. There'll be surprises, and I know you're thinking that the guys on the left, most of the guys on the left will advance. We've seen some upsets already from the league stage.
Yeah.
I think those surprises will continue in the playoffs. But look, Real Madrid, they need to get into that match against Benfica with some anger. But look, this is Jose Mourinho's team, and Jose understands European football, comes a lot of experience. So that match will get us, talking a lot. With Monaco and PSG, I've said, look, they both know themselves right there in the French Ligue 1. It should also get us talking. Look, at the end of the day, Cecilia, I love the oddity, I love the upset, and I cannot wait to start talking about it from the playoffs.
All right, let's quickly run through the round of 16 fixtures for Europa League. You have Dinamo against Genk and Bern and Bologna. Ludogorets and Ferencváros will also be playing each other. Lille and, of course, Zeda will also be in action. Panathinaikos and Victoria Plzeň. You have Fenerbahce and Nottingham Forest, and I got Park and Celta Vigo. So some of the round of 16 fixtures for you in the Europa League. So we just lived this year. When you step down a bit, you don't want to stay there. But then now, let's go straight to the CAF Champions League. Rivers United up against, Power Dynamos. It's the return leg. They will be in Uyo. Yeah, supposedly a home game for them. Pyramids and RS Bekene will be in action. That's Sunday's fixtures, match day 4. From 3 games so far, they are sharing points while the others are actually flying. A quick one on this one before we get into the MPFL, because that's what get a lot of attention tonight. Rivers United. I told Austin the other day that is actually, it wasn't Austin, it was Ken Dangerous, that it's actually possible for them to still get out of this group. All they have to do, easy peasy, with the remaining games, and of course, you get it into the quarterfinals.
It's easy to say that on paper, but you have to put in work. The truth is that they don't have the squad to execute that. It's going to be a miracle to get them do all of that. That means you need to win the rest of the games, both home and away. How possible can you do that against these teams? It's going to be difficult. Yeah,
but also, Rivers United are well rested. I mean, they have 2 fixtures now they haven't played. They have 2 games, waiting in the wings because they needed to focus on these games. I don't know what's going to happen in Uyo. You've always mentioned that they're not playing on their home ground. They don't know the stadium that well. But then Rivers United, since they've been consistent in the Champions League, and that's where they've been playing for a very, very long time. I mean, They also need do you think they need a miracle to get out of that group? Did you share any ideas? Why am I even asking you
I
questions?
think it's beyond a miracle now. They need to be realistic, you know. We did the analysis with China the last time, and we all agreed that they needed to beat Power Dynamos away, you know, and come back home and consolidate on that, you know, on that result. But it ended goalless. They now have 1 point on that table. I called for a draw between RS and Pyramids, and that happened. They're both 7 points. Rivers United won, Power Dynamos won, 1 point each. Now, with this game against Cecilia, I'm just thinking that let's imagine they win it. What can it do? What can it do for their campaign? It's just all tough. If they had won that last game, beat Power Dynamos proper in New York, minimum 3-0, they can get into the conversation again, get into the analysis. Whatever happens tomorrow with a win, I will start believing again and start using the calculators to say, oh, RS can lose, and then this what happens to Pyramids, then this can happen and that can happen. On your mark, get set, go. Everyone was on 0 points. 2 teams have 7. You have just 1. I mean, just go back and check. You can see that that's the problem. You know. But again, I've said it over and over again. I don't agree with Lumide that they don't have the players. I think it's execution. Execution matters. They showed everything that they needed to show in that game that they lost in New York in the late minutes, and we were proud of them until they blinked and they lost it. So that was a big, you know, question mark on the character of the team, you know, that there was no winning mentality right there. And that is why they are where they are at the moment. So I've lost hope. You know, they just need to go. Big Power Dynamo, Cecilia, and let's see where we can go from there.
Okay, you've lost hope. I still have hope. They can actually. I mean, it's money spinning stage. Come on, money is coming. When you just look at the money that's coming to you, and you have to play your heart out. Senegal did it, I mean, against all odds, and we know what happened. So give it a shot, right? Okay, now MPFL. Now the Nigerian Premier Football League, they've ordered that games that are being played at the Lekon Salami Stadium should no longer be played there, simply because when that stadium is no longer playable, and that's the reason it is like that. So that the fixtures it's going to start from next match days, not this particular match. It's going to start from next match day. So games at the Lekon Salami Stadium will no longer be played there. So 3SC will now move their home games to Belkuta, that's the MK Abiola Stadium. But let's quickly take a look at match day 24 games for you for this weekend. Barrow and Ikorodu City will be National Academy Warriors and Kun Khalifa. You have Rangers and Canning Pillars. Canning Pillars just bounced back a little bit, and they're facing Rangers. It's a big one. Eimba and Bayelsa United. You have Kora United and Warrior Wolves, Niger Tornadoes, and Benin Insurance. Benin Insurance couldn't beat Bara FC at home. That game ended goalless. Remo Stars, well, they're still trying to pick themselves up this season. They'll be up against Plateau United. Wicked Tourists and Nasarawa United will also be in action. That's talking about match day 24 of the Nigeria Premier Football League. And Austin, which of these games get you talking? I know we really don't have big games, but then the news from MPFL, yes, you're happy about that. But what happened to Abia Warriors Stadium? Because the game they played against Wicked Tourists, I don't know if you can see pictures from there. It's still not good enough. Even in Samuel Ogundia Stadium, I think they've not been watering that pitch, so it's looking a bit grayish. This is what's going on with these clubs, or rather, maybe the management.
It's sad, Cecilia, and you know when you do this infrastructure talk, you're just trying to poke me so that I'll just, you know, start losing it again on live television. I don't know the people that are, you know, approving this sort of playing grounds for our football. Look at that scoreboard. Just look, this is a proper local community village school stadium. That's where we're playing a top flight football match in Nigeria. We've talked about this over and over and over and over and over again.
So these
are visuals. Now, Channels Television is an international television station. People are watching. I'm right here in the United Kingdom anchoring this show, and this is what they can see. It just tells you that we're not serious. We're not ready. We're not treating this as a business. This is a top football match in the Nigeria Premier Football League. And look at where it is being played. Not just here, most of the stadiums across the country. Pathetic. you know, and these are state government-owned clubs. Just puts a big question mark on leadership of football administration and management in Nigeria. It's crazy. Let's get into the question that you asked. What are the games that I'm looking forward to? I think Abia Warriors, they need to show workings and see how they can get into the conversation again. Rangers Kano Pillars is a big match, you know. Rangers, I said if they had done enough to win their last match, they would have got into the conversation. I think they would have rose like third on the log, but they didn't. Kano Pillars, I said that win against Katsina United was they used it to launch their survivor campaign. If they can beat Rangers, it's difficult in Enugu. But can you remember that classic, Cecilia?
Yeah.
I think it was 4-2 or 4-3 right there in Enugu that Kano Pillars did it. Maybe they might just, you know, repeat it again. Remo Stars Plateau United, for some reasons, we must just start looking at Remo Stars. They are defending champions. We want to understand what's going on. Was it that long break that Daniel Ogumodede wasn't with the team? Did that affect them? They are Plateau United to beat and, you know, bring their season back on track. That said, I think it's also good to have a look at Eimba versus Bayelsa United. Eimba did just enough to pick a point on the road. They need to consolidate in Aba. Rivers United, they are not playing because they are busy on the continent. Teams must find a way to lock that gap. Unfortunately, Abia Warriors and Nasarawa United didn't win in their last matches, so they need to do it now and see how they can put some pressure on Rivers United. Olumide.
I think that these are very interesting games. All games are important. They all need points. You look at Barao against Ikorodu City. Barao are unbeaten in 4. Ikorodu City, yes, that slim win against Shooting Stars. They are third on the log. They are looking at the continental spot. Can they do enough to stay up there? Because the guys behind them, the likes of Abia Warriors, Rangers, Shooting Stars, will probably pick points. And if they are not careful from 3, they can land maybe in the 7th or 8th position. That's one very interesting game that I'm looking at. And of course, I land with Austin. The Remo Stars play 2 games. That's 17 versus 16. You have to win. And for defending champions, this is not good. I'm not saying you have to defend
They've
your
lost
title.
13 games. The teams have lost more games.
You have to stay up in the league. That's a privately owned club. These are clubs that we want to see them stay in the league. You don't want them win the title this season
and go on relegation. It's looking like it.
They need to find a solution to this. They have the advantage. Let me see what they can do against Plateau United.
They have that advantage, see what they can do. Let's quickly listen to, Mikel Arteta. We need to hear from him before we quickly run through the games at this weekend if we have a little more time. He's been motivating his players, telling them that, look, when you stumble, you actually have to stand up and see what you can do, taking all the positives from what had happened their last 3 games in the Premier League. Let's listen to him.
Just understanding where you are. Certainly when you lose a game, you have a lot of feelings, because especially this group of players are so competitive and they seek for excellence, and when you don't reach it, you ask yourself questions, and we did that. But I think my role there as well is to bring optimism and reality of where we are. And our club has a long history, and to find a moment where in February we are in the position that we are is very difficult to find. So guys, we are doing so many things so well, and let's focus mainly on that. And for sure we want to improve, we want to be better in every area, but with that sense as well of self-confidence and conviction that we are in the right path. We are doing so well. I'm there with the stick to say this is not good enough, this is not good enough. The other day, no, because I know how much they wanted, the amount of games and the demands that we put on those players every day, and those moments they need to understand and feel that we are right behind them, that I'm mainly responsible for that, and that they keep playing with that freedom, with that enjoyment, as I discussed the other day, and make sure that journey is beautiful, because what is ahead is great, and everybody has to be part of that, but in a good sense and with good humor and with good optimism, and looking forward to it.
Arteta is more than a coach. Not just a coach, he's also an inspiration. Let me quickly run through the games for this. We can start with Saturday. Brighton and Everton, Leeds and Arsenal, Wolves and Bournemouth. You have Chelsea, West Ham, Liverpool and Newcastle. And the games for Sunday, let's quickly go through that. Aston Villa and Brentford. You have Manchester United and Fulham, Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace. You have Tottenham and Man City wrapping it up for the weekend before the Monday night football. Austin, we have to go.
We have to go. There's a London derby in there with Chelsea taking on West Ham. Leeds United versus Arsenal. Look, I don't know what Mikel Arteta needs to do, but they cannot afford to drop points against Leeds. They must win that match to keep their hopes of winning the Premier League title alive, because he has to win something with Arsenal this season. Yes, Arsenal fans, I know you agree with me. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonakwan. In everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
Olivia, you're smiling. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Good to be here.
They have to win something, right? Arsenal fans, just be optimistic and be positive. That's the only way the team can actually gel and win something tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Cecilia Amogbe. Have a fantastic weekend.